Chapter 2. The Dreams Escalate. Days 2 to 6 of the final 10 Eurasian Steppe. Section 1. The Escalating Nights. They try to outwalk the dream. At the first pale hint of dawn after the terrible night, the milk-eyed elder rises without a word and begins walking southeast, faster than the band has ever moved. No one questions him. Packs are shouldered while children still rub sleep from their eyes. Fires are kicked out before the dung is fully burned. The band flows after the elder like water seeking the lowest place, mothers hoisting infants, men grabbing spears mid-stride. They walk until the sun is high and merciless. They walk until the smallest children whimper and the old stagger and clutch their chests. They walk until the grass itself seems to blur into a single green river beneath their feet. Only when the sun touches the western horizon does the elder lift one trembling hand. The band collapses where it stands, a crescent of exhausted bodies around fires lit only when the dark becomes absolute. The carving woman, her tablet now tied so tightly to her belt that the rawhide cuts her skin, sits with the ivory across her knees and waits. The dream does not care how far they have walked. It comes again on the second night, exactly as before, yet worse. The mountain blows open with a roar that lives inside the bones. Black snow falls upward and sticks to the sky like rot on old meat. The air tastes of hot iron and distant thunder. This time the dream lingers after the mountain has done its work. It shows the steppe empty, grass burned to ash, rivers boiled dry, the sun itself veiled behind a shroud that will never lift. Every sleeper wakes with the same low keen rising in the throat, 3 raw notes that scrape the night like flint on stone. They clutch one another in the dark. Strangers again, painted with the same terror. By the third night, the steppe is scarred with drawings. Wherever the band stops, even for the length of a single breath, someone falls to their knees and scratches the burning mountain into the earth. Charcoal from half-dead fires, red ochre mixed with spit, blood from deliberate cuts, all become the same image. The jagged peak, the belching mouth, the black snow, the fleeing stick people who never escape. Mammoth ribs torn from old kills are dragged to camp and painted until they shine wet. Children too young to hold a spear properly are given slivers of flint and taught the angle of the barren. Tiny ivory tablets appear overnight, each bearing the mountain and the reaching hands. The carving woman no longer sits apart. She moves from fire to fire like a shadow, showing wrists, showing the stroke that makes ash rise, the twist that makes a hand reach. Her own tablet is crowded now. The grooves are so deep the ivory looks bruised. When a child offers her a fresh-cut thumb, she presses it to her tablet without hesitation, sealing the child's blood beside her own. On the fourth night, the dream adds a new cruelty. The mountain erupts, the ash falls, the people choke. And then the dream shows the band itself running in circles, trampling their own children, tearing at one another's faces in madness while the black snow buries them alive. The message is gentle and terrible. Even together, you will die screaming. Every sleeper wakes silent this time. No keen, no wail. Only the soft, wet sound of hundreds of throats trying not to scream. In that silence, something shifts. The band understands that the dream is not warning. It is rehearsal. The milk-eyed elder stands in the center of the camp and raises both arms. Slowly, deliberately, he makes the sign for sky-breaking 3 times. Then he lowers his arms and does not move again until dawn. No one sleeps after that. They sit back to back in the dark, shoulder to shoulder, staring at nothing. The carving woman walks the edge of the camp, cutting the mountain into every boulder, every flat bone, every patch of bare earth. Her baron flashes red in the starlight. Blood runs down her wrist and drips from her elbow, but she does not notice. Somewhere a baby begins to cry and cannot stop. The sound is thin, exhausted, endless. Far above, the Preservari drone records a heat bloom of 307 bodies pressed too close together, heart rates elevated, cortisol analogs spiking, and logs. Night 4 approaching optimal distress threshold. On the ground, the band waits for morning the way a wounded animal waits for the spear to fall. The wind moves across the grass, but it no longer sounds like comfort. It sounds like breathing. Section 2. The first shared silence and the boys' fear. On the fourth day they stop walking entirely. No signal is given, no voice rises. The milk-eyed elder simply halts in the middle of a vast, featureless sweep of grass, lowers himself to his knees, and places both palms flat on the earth. One by one, then in sudden rushes, the others do the same. Within moments, 307 bodies form a perfect circle, shoulder to shoulder, facing inward, as though pulled together by a hand no one can see. The circle is enormous, wide enough that the people on the far side are only dark shapes against the grass, but it is flawless. Even the dogs lie flat inside the ring, ears pressed to their skulls. Children nurse without sound. Infants sleep with thumbs in mouths. Lovers do not touch. No one shifts weight, no one coughs, no one weeps aloud. Only the wind dares to move, sliding over them like cold water. For an entire turn of the sun they remain that way. The sun climbs, burns, begins its descent. Shadows lengthen and shrink and lengthen again. Heat shimmers above the grass inside the circle, turning the air into trembling glass. Thirst comes, fierce and animal, but no one reaches for a water skin. Hunger gnaws, but no one unwraps the last strips of dried meat. They sit in silence, so complete it has weight, like a stone on every chest. In that silence something is born. It is not hope. It is not yet acceptance. It is the understanding, sudden and shared, that the dream is not a dream at all. It is a memory from tomorrow, and tomorrow is already inside them, eating them alive from the future. The boy, 6 winters, knees scabbed, eyes the color of winter sky, has not let go of his ivory mammoth calf since the first night. He clutches it so tightly now that the tiny trunk has cut a red line across his palm, but he does not feel the pain. He sits between his mother's knees, doll pressed to his lips, staring at the empty center of the circle, as though the burning mountain might rise there at any moment. When the sun is directly overhead, he begins to tremble. Not a small shiver. His whole small body shakes, as though something enormous is trying to crawl out of his skin. His mother wraps her arms around him, but he does not seem to feel her. Tears run down his dusty cheeks and fall onto the doll, leaving pale tracks on the ivory. He tries to speak, but only a thin, reedy sound comes out. Almost a word. Almost up, up. His mother presses her mouth to his ear and makes the sign for still here, over and over, palm flat to his heart, then to her own. But the boy's eyes stay fixed on the sky, wide and glassy, as though he can already see the golden light that has not yet been shown to them. Across the circle, the carving woman watches him. Her own tablet rests on her thighs, crusted with 4 days of dried blood. She has not added a new mark since dawn. There is no mark yet for what the silence is doing to them. She only watches the boy shake, and something inside her chest tightens like a fist around a spear. Hours pass. The sun begins its slow fall toward the west. Still no one moves. A cloud drifts across the sun, and for a moment the circle is shaded. In that brief dimness, the boy suddenly screams, a short, sharp sound that slices the silence like flint striking steel. The doll flies from his hand and lands in the dust at the circle's center, trunk upraised as though still trying to trumpet. The scream hangs in the air, then dies. No one goes to fetch the doll. No one scolds the boy. His mother only pulls him closer, rocking him, and the circle closes its eyes as one, breathing through the wound the child has opened. When the sun touches the grass again, the silence is different. It is no longer empty. It is full of the mountain, full of tomorrow, full of the certain knowledge that running will not save them. The boy's trembling stops. He stares at the doll lying alone in the center and whispers the almost word again, softer now, almost wondering, up. Far above, the drone records a perfect ring of infrared signatures, heartbeats synchronized to within 3 beats per minute, and logs, spatial cohesion achieved ahead of schedule. Proceed to amelioration sequence. On the ground, the circle remains unbroken until starlight replaces sunlight, and the only movement is the slow, rhythmic rise and fall of 307 chests breathing the same exhausted air. The doll lies where it fell, ivory gleaming like a small lost moon. No one sleeps. Section 3. Preservare log Night 4. Observation drone 471Y, Perseus, transient array, quantum lattice entry, translated from base 12 temporal script. Night 4 of 10. Emotional imprint saturation, 97.8%. Symbolic fixation on eruption motif exceeds projection by 41%. Unexpected development, juvenile subjects producing protective talismans, ivory fragments, bone shards, ochre body markings, at a rate of 193 artifacts in the last 31 hours. Cultural cohesion accelerating beyond modeled parameters. Auditory pattern, 3-note vocalization, now present in 100% of adults and 87% of juveniles. Stress markers approaching psychological rupture threshold in 14 subjects. Ethical subroutine 9b flags persistent distress spike in juvenile designation TOR 6, elevated cortisol analog, episodic tremor, vocalization fragment up. Consensus override, irrelevant. The narrower sin requires certainty, not comfort. Mercy is a wider sin. Recommendation from Lattice Subcommittee 12-D. Reduce dream intensity by 3% to prevent irreversible trauma. Consensus, denied. Extinction probability of non-evacuated population remains 99.9991%. Scheduled beam descent window, unchanged. Continue implantation sequence. Initiate amelioration protocol on night 5. Lattice seal, 471 wide diop, 74,126 BCE, Toba calibration complete. Section 4. The warm light appears on the 5th night the dream changes. They lie down in the same vast circle, still shoulder to shoulder, still wordless. The doll remains in the center like a tiny ivory altar no one dares disturb. Fires are not lit. The darkness is preferred to the reminder of flame. Mothers pull children close. The carving woman sits with her tablet across her knees, bearing clenched so tightly her knuckles glow pale in the starlight. The milk-eyed elder rocks slowly, humming the 3 notes that have become their heartbeat. Sleep comes only because bodies betray them. The mountain rises again, vast and terrible. The sky splits. Black snow falls upward, thicker than ever, blotting out moon and stars. The roar is inside the skull now, deeper than bone. People run, fall, burn, choke. The boy sees his mother's face melt like fat in fire. He reaches for her and his small hands come away wet with ash. But this time, the dream does not end with silence and white bones. After the world has burned to cinders, when only darkness and the taste of iron remain, golden beams descend from a sky that has no moon. They are warm. Not the searing heat of the mountain, but the gentle warmth of sunlight on the first day after the long cold. The warmth of a mother's body when a child crawls beneath wolf fur at dawn. The beams fall straight and silent, wider than rivers, bright enough to read every groove on every ivory tablet, yet soft enough that no one shades their eyes. In the dream, the people stop running. They turn toward the light as flowers turn toward morning. Children laugh because the glow tickles their cheeks. Mothers lift infants higher so the beams can find tiny faces. Men drop spears that are suddenly too heavy. The carving woman lifts her tablet. The blood-filled grooves catch the golden light and blaze like molten copper. The boy walks forward, barefoot on ash that no longer burns, and the ivory mammoth calf is whole again in his hand, trunk curled around his wrist like a living thing. No one is afraid. The beams widen, gentle as breath, and the people step into them without hesitation. There is no sensation of rising, only of being held. The mountain's roar fades to a memory. The black snow dissolves into gold. A certainty, not words, but something deeper, fills every mind at once. Walk into the light. It will not burn. It will carry. Then the dream releases them. 307 bodies jerk awake beneath the real stars, gasping, not with terror this time, but with wonder. The keen that rises in their throats is softer, almost a sigh. Hands reach across the dark and find other hands. Foreheads press together. Someone begins the 3 notes, but the middle note lifts now, turns upward like a question. The carving woman is already working. By the faint starlight, her baron flashes, cutting long slanting rays that fall across the burning mountain like mercy. The grooves are careful, reverent. When she cuts her thumb again, she does not flinch. She only smiles, small and fierce, and lets the blood run into the new lines until the ivory drinks it all. Across the circle, the boy crawls to his mother. Doll clutched to his chest once more. He does not remember retrieving it, and buries his face in her neck. His trembling has stopped. When he looks up, his winter sky eyes are wide, but they shine now instead of glaze. He whispers the almost word again, clear this time, full of awe. Up. The milk-eyed elder lifts both arms to the empty sky and holds them there until dawn, palms open, fingers spread, thumb touching heart. No one teaches the gesture. By sunrise, every adult in the circle is making it. Section 5. The Second Silence. On the sixth morning, the band forms the circle again, but this time no one sits. They rise as one, 307 bodies, swaying like tall grass in a wind that is not wind. The movement is slow, almost ceremonial. Mothers lift children to hips or shoulders so even the smallest can see over the ring. Elders are supported by younger arms. The milk-eyed elder stands at the northern arc, arms still holding last night's gesture, palms open to the sky, thumb to heart. No one has lowered their arms since dawn. Hours pass, the sun climbs, fierce and indifferent. Heat ripples above the trampled grass. Thirst returns, but no one drinks. Hunger gnaws, but no one eats. Children who were screaming in the dreams now sleep peacefully in slings, tiny fists unclenched. The dogs lie flat, tongues lolling, yet their tails thump once whenever the circle breathes together. Only the carving woman moves. She walks the inner ring barefoot, tablet pressed to her breast with her left hand, bearing in her right. She stops at every person, man, woman, child, elder, and touches the blade gently to whatever artifact they carry. A smear of ochre on a child's chest, a mountain scratched into a forearm with flint, a sliver of ivory tied at the throat. She does not cut. She only gathers. Her palm slides over each mark as though collecting warm milk, drawing the terror out through the skin and into her own body. When she passes, people exhale as though a stone has been lifted from their lungs. She moves sunwise, never hurried, never pausing longer than a heartbeat. Blood from her repeatedly cut thumb leaves faint red prints on shoulders, cheeks, tiny foreheads. No one flinches. Some lean into the touch. When she reaches the milk-eyed elder, he bows his head. She presses her bleeding thumb to the center of his forehead, completing the circle. A single tear cuts a clean line through the dust on his cheek, though his face does not change. She returns to her place in the eastern arc. The circle is breathing as one creature now, slow, deep, tidal. 307 chests rise, hold, fall, hold. Even the infants match the rhythm. The grass inside the ring lies perfectly flat, as though a great hand has smoothed it. At noon, the sun stands directly overhead, white and merciless. The shadows shrink to nothing beneath their feet. In that moment, the circle tilts. Every head lifts to the empty sky at the same instant. No command, no signal. Only the shared certainty that something is listening back. The boy, perched on his mother's hip, raises his ivory mammoth calf high above his head with both small hands. The trunk points straight at the sun like an arrow. He does not tremble. His eyes are shining. The carving woman lifts her tablet in answer. The golden rays she carved last night catch the sunlight and throw it back in long, trembling lines across every face. For a heartbeat, the grooves look molten, alive. Then, without sound, the entire circle lowers their arms. The silence is different now. It is not the hollow silence of the fourth day, nor the stunned silence after the first dream. It is a silence that has been earned, filled to the brim with ash and warmth and the taste of tomorrow. It rings like a struck bell. Far above, the drone registers a perfect synchrony spike. Heartbeats align to within 1 beat per minute. Respiration phased, even the dogs' tails beating in unison. And logs. Phase 2 acceptance threshold achieved. Symbolic transference from destruction motif to ascension motif. 96% complete. Proceed to final reinforcement. On the ground, 307 souls stand beneath the burning sun and do not look away. They have stopped running. They are ready to be carried. Section 6. The naming of the light. That night, the dream brings the golden beams again, brighter than before. They descend earlier, before the mountain has finished its killing. The black snow still falls, the sky still bleeds, but the beams cut through the ash like warm knives through fat. The people do not wait for the world to end this time. They walk into the light, while the roar is still in their ears, while the heat still blisters their backs. Children laugh outright. Mothers weep without sound. The carving woman holds her tablet overhead with both hands. The carved rays blaze so fiercely, the ivory itself seems to burn gold. The certainty returns, stronger now, shaped almost like a voice. You are seen. You are chosen. Come. Every sleeper wakes with the glow still behind their eyes. The milk-eyed elder is the first to move. He rises in the dark, joints cracking like green wood, and walks to the center of the circle where the boy's doll still lies. He kneels, picks it up with reverent care, and carries it back to the child. The boy takes it without a word and presses the tiny trunk to his lips in perfect imitation of the elder's gesture. Fingers spread, palm open, thumb touching heart. Then the elder lifts his own trembling hand and makes the same sign toward the empty sky. Every adult repeats it at once, as though they have practiced for a lifetime. Arms rise in a slow wave around the circle, palms open to the stars, thumbs to hearts. The movement is flawless, inevitable. Even mothers with sleeping infants on their breasts manage it one-handed. The carving woman uses the hand not holding her tablet. The boy stretches both small arms upward, doll clutched in one fist, mimicking perfectly. The gesture has no name yet, but it already means welcome. A soft sound begins, 3 notes, the same 3 that have haunted them since the first night, but the middle note lifts higher now, almost questioning. 1 throat starts it, then 10, then every throat in the circle. The sound is quiet, almost shy, yet it carries for kilometers across the sleeping steppe. Dogs lift their heads and add perfect fifths without being taught. Night birds fall silent mid-call. The carving woman steps into the center. Moonlight and starlight strike her tablet. The golden rays she carved seem to move, to pulse. She turns slowly so every person can see, then presses the ivory to her heart and makes the new sign again. Larger this time, arms wide enough to embrace the sky. The circle answers with the 3-note phrase turned upward. No longer keening, no longer mourning, asking. Across the ring, the boy suddenly laughs. Clear, ringing, delighted. The sound startles a nearby raven into flight. Laughter spreads like thrown sparks, soft at first, then helpless and bright. For the first time since the dreams began, the night is loud with living voices. When the laughter fades, the silence that follows is radiant. They lie down still touching, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip, heartbeat to heartbeat, and sleep without fear. Some keep one arm raised toward the stars until exhaustion pulls it down. High above, the drone records the new gesture propagating through the entire population in under 9 seconds and logs a single line. Symbolic anchor for a scent motif established. Auditory identifier, 3-note ascending, now serves dual function, grief and invitation. Readiness index, 98%. On the ground, 307 souls breathe the cool night air and wait for the 7th dawn. They have named the light without words. They have welcomed it. They will not be made to beg. Section 7. The first fracture. The 7th dawn breaks pale and cold. The circle has not broken. They still stand, sit, or lie exactly where night left them, arms half raised, faces turned to the sky. The 3-note phrase has become a low, constant murmur, like surf on a distant shore. No one has eaten or drunk since the second silence. Lips are cracked, eyes sunken, but no one complains. Then the young hunter breaks. He is 19 summers, broad-shouldered, the best spear thrower in the band. His chest and arms are painted black with ash in the shape of the burning mountain. He has not spoken since the 4th night. Now he suddenly screams, one raw animal sound that tears the morning open. He falls to his knees in the grass and claws at his own chest with broken nails. Skin splits. Blood runs in thin rivers over the ash, turning it to rust-colored mud. He screams again, words almost forming. "Take me now! Spare the children! Take me!" His voice cracks like thin ice. He beats his fists against his ribs as though trying to dig the dream out of his heart. The circle sways but does not part. Mothers turn children's faces away, yet do not move to stop him. The dogs whine and press flat. The carving woman, Asha, though the name is still only a shape in the future, is already moving. She walks straight to him, tablet hanging heavy against her thigh, blood-crusted black on her fingers. When she reaches him, she kneels, unafraid of the blood or the flailing hands. She cups his face the way a mother cups a fevered child and presses her forehead hard to his. She hums the 3 notes directly into his skull. The sound is soft, steady, unbreakable. It is the same phrase every throat has carried for days, but from her it is different, older, deeper, the root from which all the others grew. The young hunter's scream fractures mid-breath. His hands fall. Great sobs shake him, huge and ugly and cleansing. The circle closes around them like water around a dropped stone. Hands reach in, not to restrain, only to touch. Shoulders, hair, bleeding chest. No one speaks. Someone presses a strip of dried meat to his lips. He turns his face away. Someone else offers water. He does not drink. But the touching continues until his shaking slows and his breathing matches the circles again. When Asha finally releases his face, his eyes are clear for the first time in days. He looks at her, then past her at the upraised arms of the band, then at the sky itself. A single tear cuts a clean line through the blood and ash on his cheek. He lifts his own trembling hand and makes the new sign, fingers spread, palm open, thumb to heart. The circle answers with the 3-note phrase turned gentle, almost tender. The young hunter bows his head until it touches the earth. When he rises again, the black mountain painted on his chest is smeared and ruined, but the blood beneath it is whole. He returns to his place without another sound. The fracture has been mended before it could spread. Above, the drone registers a brief adrenaline spike, followed by immediate cohesion rebound and logs. Minor descent event contained by primary subject Asha-01. No intervention required. Emotional valence shifting from despair, resolve, proceed. On the ground, 307 souls breathe out together, and the morning feels suddenly warmer. The young hunter keeps his hand raised longer than anyone else, palm open to the sky, as though offering the last of his terror to whatever waits beyond the blue. No one lowers their arms until the sun is fully risen. The circle holds. Section 8, The Edge of Acceptance. By the 6th dusk, the band no longer flees the night. They lie down in the open grass, still shoulder to shoulder, still touching, but now without urgency. Some rest on their backs, faces to the first stars. Others curl toward one another like sleeping wolves. Children sleep instantly, exhausted thumbs in mouths, tiny chests rising and falling in perfect rhythm. The dogs stretch out among them, no longer whining. Fires are not lit. No one wants smoke between them and the sky. The carving woman sits cross-legged at the eastern edge. Her tablet rests on her thighs, almost complete. The mountain is there, black and terrible. The black snow rises. The golden rays fall across it, all like mercy, promise, invitation. Only one small blank space remains at the bottom, no larger than a child's palm. She has not yet decided what belongs there. She only knows it is waiting. The young hunter, blood-crusted dark on his chest, lies nearby. His breathing is steady now. From time to time, he lifts his hand and makes the welcome sign, then lets it fall again, as though practicing for the moment it will be answered. The boy, Torin, though the name is still unborn, sleeps curled against his mother with the ivory mammoth calf tucked beneath his cheek. His small fist opens and closes in starlight. The doll's trunk seems to curl toward the sky of its own accord. No one speaks. Words have become unnecessary. The 3-note phrase rises now and then, soft as breath, no longer a keen but a lullaby. When it fades, the silence is comfortable, almost expectant. Fear is still present, a thin wire beneath the skin, but it has grown a twin. Certainty. They understand now, all of them, that the mountain will come whether they run or stand still. They understand the golden light will come after. They understand the choice has already been made, not by them, perhaps never by them, but that the choice is not punishment. It is rescue. The milk-eyed elder lies on his back in the center of the circle, one arm flung wide, palm open. His good eye reflects the stars like still water. From time to time his lips move, shaping the 3 notes without sound. A mother lifts her infant so the glow that is not yet there can find his face in the dream. A father presses his lips to his daughter's hair and feels her heartbeat answer his own. Lovers lie with fingers laced, no longer needing touch to feel one another. Asha traces the final blank space on her tablet with a careful thumb. The ivory is warm, almost feverish. She thinks of the young hunter's scream, of the boy's laugh in the golden beams, of the way every throat lifted the notes tonight without being taught. She is not afraid. She only waits, patient as the step itself, for the mark that will complete the story. Above them, the stars burn cold and ancient. Somewhere far to the southeast, unnoticed, a distant mountain exhales a thin plume of steam that the wind tears apart before it can rise. High overhead, the drone records body temperatures dropping into restorative sleep, heart rate synchronized, respiration phased, and logs its final line of the sixth night. Acceptance threshold, 99.3%. Residual resistance, negligible. Symbolic artifacts complete or near complete in 100% of subjects. Initiate final reinforcement sequence tomorrow. On the ground, 307 humans sleep beneath an open sky for the first time without fear. The grass bends around them, gentle now, almost reverent. They have reached the edge. Tomorrow, they will step over it together.